Local radio with a worldwide connection. The Free America Radio Network. Go to www.freeamericaradio.us. Hey, folks, this is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce with the 10th of November, 2014. Happy birthday to the United States Marines. Yes. So anyway, what are we doing, folks? What are we doing? Hey, I got a question for you. I always like to start out sometimes with a question. Not always. I want to ask a question of you. In what manner do you believe this country needs to change? In what manner, what method, what style, how would you change this country? If you had an opportunity to change this country and to change it for the better, what would you do? More importantly, how would you do it? Now, I know that this show gets heard all over the world. And I know that different countries have different ways of governing their people. But their people need to understand that peace, freedom, and security and liberty is not just for the United States. It's for everybody. But I believe that people have been so dumbed down, no matter where you're at, dumbed down by their own indoctrinational institutes, governmental indoctrination institutes, their schools, that they're now at the point where you're in the cage and the door is closed. And there's nothing you can do about it. At least, not while you're in the cage. Somebody you know, some other group that you may know may know how to change things to get you out of that cage. Okay? So this is what we have to look at. What method, what manner do we change the system? I always heard, well, you have to change it from the inside out. Well, how's that worked for us for the last 200 years? How's that worked for you and your country? Okay? How's that worked? Have you made significant changes to where you and your people are free, liberated, have peace, security in your nation? How's that working out for you? Huh? Here in the United States, there's always one group of people trying to dominate the other. And they do that, the method in which they use, the manner by which they do this is through indoctrination, suppression, propaganda. I mean, it's just a typical attitude of, well, what this one group that I'm speaking of always seems to think that they're superior to everyone else, when in fact they're not. Have you noticed some people who are Mensa, or people who have an IQ higher than, average? Maybe they're 210, 230 IQ or whatever. Did you notice that they have no common sense? Do you notice they probably don't know a whole lot about, the political structure and infrastructure and the Constitution and what it means and how it was created and who created it? And I bet they don't even know any of that. Okay? I bet they don't. But you get somebody with an average IQ of about 130, 140, 150. Oh, they know a lot. Okay, they know quite a lot. And they have common sense, and they're aware and they're awake of what's going on. So, the point is, before I go to break, is this. Where are you in the scope of things? And, again, what method do you have that is viable and peaceful to change the system? How would you do it? This is something that is definitely asked in many occasions, but never really applied. So I'll be back right after this. You can email me at freeamericaradio@usa.com, freeamericaradio@usa.com, and go listen to my other podcasts from earlier, the Wayne S. Pierce Show Podcast. And I'm a little harsh, so check it out. freeamericaradio.us, freeamericaradio@usa.com. Talk to you in a bit. This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce from the Free America Radio Network. Come join me on the Views Expressed Live, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, on freeamericaradio.us. Eastland Radio Repertory Theater is looking for you. Are you a voice actor? Do you want to hone your abilities? Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com. We are currently looking for voice actors to fill certain character roles in an ongoing radio play in development. Please send your audition clips to Eastland Radio Theater at USA.com. Hey folks, how you doing? This is Reverend Wayne S. Pierce right here for the 10th of November, 2014, not the 11th. That's tomorrow. What are we doing? Let's go to... I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be very, very blunt with people, okay? I've changed a little bit my thoughts about what... I try to talk to you and I try to get you to understand what's going on, and I get emails from people that say that they're awake and what do we need to do? They're looking for answers. Most of the emails and posts I get are people looking for answers, and I really want to say I don't have all the answers. Don't look to me for the answers. I'm showing you the roadmap. There's a big red circle with a big red dot in the middle of it, and it says you are here. There's so many roads that are there that you need to decide which ones to take. So it's entirely up to you. And so when people ask me, well, what's this and what's that? How can we do this? And how can... Well, no, that's up to you. Okay? That's entirely up to you. All right? DailyMail.co.uk is reporting Rush Limbaugh threatens to sue Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee for defamation after fundraising emails said he abdicated tolerance of rape. Radio host mocked Ohio State University's consent program that requires men and women to verbally agree at every phase of sexual activity. He asked male listeners if they had ever been taught no means yes if you know how to spot it. DCCC, which is the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, email then raised money with an email. Quote, in case you missed it, Limbaugh actually said no means yes if you know how to spot it, unquote. Political group also urged Democrats to, quote, pressure Rush Limbaugh sponsors to pull their ads from his disgusting show, unquote. Legal letter demands retraction and apology from the organization comprised of, quote, elected officials who ought to know better, unquote. Radio legend was himself threatened with defamation suit in 2013 for calling free birth control activist Sandra Fluke a slut. There's audio here as well, and I want to say this, and I want to make this perfectly clear, all right? I don't advocate violence in any way against women, period. I don't. It's just not, no. Mama didn't raise no fool, okay? You know what I'm saying? So, if that is the case, okay, let me go to this end before I get into my comments here. Let's go to this end. Okay. If for some reason he did say this and did mean it, question is why? Okay. And if it was defamatory to say that, then why didn't the family, why didn't, these people come forward before now? Whoops. Yeah, I hate it when it starts like that. But, so, why are they just now coming out and saying anything? Okay. So, let me go that route. Okay. And let me read this article to you. It says here, quote, let's see, let me go back up here. Excuse me, let me start at the beginning. David Martosco, U.S. political editor for Mail Online, wrote this. Thank you, David. Conservative talk radio host Rush Limbaugh threatened on Monday to sue the Democratic National Campaign Committee, a group of sitting members of Congress, over fundraising emails that claimed he advocated for rape on college campuses. In the letter to the political organizations, lawyers for America's most listened to talker demanded a retraction and an apology. Limbaugh, known for mercilessly, I don't know why I can't say that word, needling elements of U.S. progressive culture, spent part of his September 15th show mocking a sexual consent program that Ohio State University implemented this year. Quote, consent must be fully given, can be withdrawn at any time, and absent of no does not mean yes, unquote. He read from the campus policy before asking his audience, quote, how many of you guys, in your own experience with women, have learned that no means yes if you know how to spot it, unquote. The DCCC, run by New York Democrats, Representative Steve Israel, reacted with fundraising emails skewering Limbaugh just 2 days later. Quote, we knew we had to take action after Limbaugh's reprehensible rant excusing rape on the college campuses. Unquote, one email read, quote, in case you missed it, Limbaugh actually said no means yes if you know how to spot it, unquote. That was from the DCCC. Rush Limbaugh never advocated that and never said that. So these people are totally out of their minds. Continuing, other emails cited by Limbaugh's lawyer claimed he excuses rape on campuses, is advocating a tolerance of rape, and perpetuates a culture of sexual assault. Other emails cited by Limbaugh's lawyer claimed he, the other lawyer that I just quoted, let me look here, the New York Democrat Representative Steve Israel, he's obviously a lawyer, said what I just quoted a little bit ago, but continuing, other emails cited by Limbaugh's lawyer claimed he, Mr. Israel, excuses rape on college campuses, is advocating a tolerance of rape, and perpetuates a culture of sexual assault. The attorneys said Monday that the host was asking a facetious question, not making a statement. Quote, Mr. Limbaugh was openly mocking men who believe that no means yes, unquote, they wrote. Quote, sign your name, unquote, it asked, and, quote, pressure Rush Limbaugh sponsors to pull their ads from his disgusting show, unquote. I'm just going to stop right there because I'm going to put this on the Wayne S. Pierce Show Facebook page. And I want to say this, and here's my opinion about all this. First of all, any lawyer or any politician that says, oh, we have to do a letter writing campaign to get his sponsors to, pull their sponsorship from his shows. You know what they're doing? They're maliciously advocating, or I should say, let me rephrase that. They're advocating malicious actions to destroy the livelihood of this man. That is what they're actually doing, okay? Write a letter, get his sponsors pulled. You are trying to bring down somebody who you obviously disagree with, that you don't want to have a discussion with, that you don't want to find out exactly what was being said in the context in which it was said, because you're too damn busy taking it out of context to try to destroy his career. Period. End of sentence. That is a Democrat mantra. Destroy anybody else that doesn't agree with us. Okay? That's the bottom line. I should know because I know a lot of Democrats. I am nonpartisan. I don't care about the parties. There should be no parties in America. Period. Period. There shouldn't be any. There should be Americans. We have 92 to 95 to almost 100 million people that are unemployed. I think they can do a hell of a lot better than those 535 idiots in Congress right now. Okay? Because they're out on the streets. They know exactly what's going on. They actually not only feel the pulse of America, they actually are there to resuscitate when things go bad. In other words, what I'm saying is, if the market adjusts itself when things are down, and it adjusts itself when things are up, because there's I believe from what someone once told me, there's like a 5%, 6% normalcy area where everything is just fine. Nothing goes up for a long period of time. Nothing stays down for a long period of time. It's right in that what someone else told me was the Goldilocks zone. Okay? So you have that area. But here you have a Democratic representative, Mr. Israel, who literally is telling people to write letters to his sponsors to destroy this man. That, to me, folks, is a person that doesn't like small business. That, to me, folks, is not an American. That, to me, folks, is a man hell-bent on destroying what made this country great. Period. And that is also on the Democratic side of the aisle. Well, Democrats are for America. No, they're not. If you look at the very beginnings of the Democratic Party, you will see that they are nothing more than pseudo-communists. But now, 2014, November 10th, they have come straight out and are implementing communist ideologies and communist principles and communist laws into the United States. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You know I'm right. Okay? People look at me and go, why are you so hard on people? Why? No. All you got to do is do your homework, folks. You'll see it. Oh, then you tell people you don't want to hear it. because you're going to be wrong, and you're going to be walking away from me with egg on your face because you know I'm right. And if you want to email me, you go right ahead and tell me why you think I'm wrong. Matter of fact, give me all the information you have to prove yourself right. And then we'll have a decent discussion and debate about the issue. Okay? I know what people are going to say. Well, why should we do that? You're going to tell us we're wrong anyway. No, I'm not. You know why? Because I may have overlooked something. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm wrong. It just means that I overlooked something. Let's take a look at it. Simple as that, folks. From CNET.com, Obama, regulate broadband internet like a utility so it works for everyone. President Obama calls for tighter rules from the FCC, leaving a little bit of wiggle room in an effort to preserve a quote-unquote free and open internet. Don Reisinger and Roger Chang, thank you Don and Roger, over at CNET.com. President Obama urged the United States government to adopt tighter regulation on broadband service in an effort to preserve, quote-unquote, a free and open internet. In a statement released Monday, Obama called on the Federal Communications Commission to enforce the principle of treating all internet traffic the same way, known in shorthand as net neutrality. Let me stop right there, folks. You know what that means? That means if you have an opposite view than I do, then in an open internet, we can discuss it, but with net neutrality, I get shut out, or you get shut out, depending. Continuing, that means treating broadband services like utilities, the president said, so that the internet service providers would be unable to, quote, to restrict the best access or to pick winners and losers in the online marketplace for services and ideas, unquote. In other words, get rid of the competition. Comcast, Charter, Verizon, AT&T. There goes your U-verse, AT&T customers. No more competition. And you add net neutrality to that, and you add the what I was talking about a little while ago wasn't net neutrality, but that's part of it, and that's called the fairness doctrine. So you put all those together, guess what? You have one party speaking one word, giving one view, and everybody else can just shut up. That is what they want. That is what this president wants. He doesn't want opposition. He doesn't want competitiveness. He doesn't want, healthy debates and discussions. He wants to shut down anybody that is opposing him. Period. End of sentence. Done. I don't care what people say. This is what it is. No, he's good. He said he was going to do this, and he did, and he's good. No. What part of N-O don't you understand? No. You don't get it. He's a freaking communist. He wants the same type of internet service internet service in America that they have in China. You know what they do in China? Have you heard anyone in the independent media get on the internet from China and express what's happening in their country? No. You know why? Because that country has shut them down. Okay? So I don't want to hear it. You want to tell me? Then you better provide the information. Other than that, you just sit there and listen. I'll educate you. Continuing, Obama wades into a contentious debate that has raged over how to treat internet traffic, which has only heated up as the FCC works to prepare an official guideline. Those rules were expected to be made available last year, though reports now claim they may be delayed until early 2015. The debate has centered on whether broadband should be placed under Title II regulation under the Telecommunications Act, which already tightly controls phone services. By the way, the Telecommunications Act of 1996 was written for the sole purpose of legalized wiretapping. Oh, go read it. It won't say legalized wiretapping, but it leaves a little wiggle room for the government to tell the cell phone companies and all of that to open up a back door to them whenever they want, so they can get in and track everything. By the way, folks, they're already tracking stuff. They already know where you're at, who you talk to, what you download, what you eat, where you go. Why? Because you have it on your phone. It's called location services. Continuing, the proponents argue that Title II regulation would ensure the free and fair flow of traffic across the internet. Opponents, however, believe the reorientation would mean onerous rules that would limit investment in the infrastructure and in new services, and that toll roads of sorts would provide better service to companies that can support their higher traffic volumes. But that in turn has created widespread concern that ISPs could throttle service in some instances, intentionally slowing some content streams and speeding others. Some of the major broadband providers have already spoken out against the plan. Quote, reclassification under Title II, which for the first time would apply 1930s-era utility regulation to the Internet, would be a radical reversal, of course, that would in and of itself threaten great harm to an open internet, competition, and innovation, unquote, Verizon said in an emailed statement. See, cut the competition out. Create one company, one head, and anybody else is shut out. Okay? You ever heard of Web 2.0 or Internet 2? Yeah. Quote, today's announcement by the White House, if acted upon by the FCC, would be a mistake that will do tremendous harm to the Internet and to U.S. national interest, unquote, said Jim Ciccone, AT&T Senior Executive Vice President for External and Legislative Affairs, in a statement, quote, to attempt to impose a full-blown Title II regime now when the classification of cable broadband has always been as an information service would reverse nearly a decade of precedent, including findings by the Supreme Court that this classification was proper, unquote, David Cohen, Executive Vice President of Comcast, said in a statement. Others, however, lauded the president's actions. These are the people that are part of the problem, folks. Let me read on. Quote, we don't have industry gatekeepers to pick winners and losers on the internet, unquote. Ellen Bloom, Senior Director of Federal Policy for consumer advocacy group Consumers Union, said in a statement. Senator Al Franken and Tumblr CEO David Karp also praised the move, saying it was necessary to maintain a free internet. Obama has no authority to set the guidelines. That rests on the shoulders of the FCC. Utilizing Title II regulations would likely touch off months, if not years, of debate and legal challenges by the broadband companies. Immediately following the president's announcement, Verizon and AT&T shares dropped sharply, but then just as quickly headed back up and have since been trading at slightly above Friday's closing price. Comcast shares also slumped and have remained about 4% below Friday's close. The broadband providers have abdicated a light touch regulation environment that has been in place, which they argue has been a catalyst for wireless and broadband investment. In other words, leave it alone, allow the market to do what the market does. That would mean, our involvement within the market itself. And we ourselves can also invest in these companies, but with what the president wants to do, we won't be able to invest or create or be innovative in any way whatsoever. There won't be any competition. Okay. Continuing, the FCC earlier this year saw a vigorous response from the public to its call for comments on its open internet proposals, with the FCC servers sometimes stumbling and crashing under the overwhelming input. The comment window closed in September. In April, FCC Tom Wheeler Chairman Tom Wheeler, came under fire after an early proposal for his rules of the Internet access were made available. While Wheeler has said that he fully supports the open Internet, the proposal could allow for paid prioritization of Internet traffic. In other words, the more you pay, the bigger lane you have. Imagine a 4-lane highway, folks, and you're over in the right-hand lane, and you're going, let's just say 65 miles an hour. You look over in lane number 1, which is the one in the middle of the highway. You look over there to your left, and you see cars cruising at 123, however fast they can handle it. But that's a special lane because people paid for it. So they can drive as fast as they want. There's no, nothing. They can just go. Imagine that's the internet, okay, for a minute. For you, because you're driving at 65 and everybody else has faster speed and you're still sitting back on. Other people are doing, 30, 60 gigabytes of speed and you're still sitting at dial-up. You know what I'm saying? Quote, I will say it again, there is nothing in the proposal that authorizes fast lanes on the internet, unquote, the chairman said earlier this year. Quote, it simply asks questions such as should there be a ban on paid prioritization, but there is nothing in the rule that authorizes it, unquote. No, there's nothing in the rule, but they're going to do it anyway. Wheeler on Monday praised the president for a statement calling it, quote, an important and welcome addition to the record of the open internet proceeding, unquote, and noting that the FCC will incorporate into the record. Quote, like the president, I believe that the internet must remain an open platform for free expression, innovation, and economic growth. We both oppose internet fast lanes. The internet must not take advantage. God, I wish these people learn how to write. The internet must not advantage some to the detriment of others, unquote. He said in a statement, quote, we cannot allow broadband networks to cut special deals to prioritize internet traffic and harm consumers, competition, and innovation. Sorry, folks. Whoa. Continuing, at the crux of the debate over net neutrality is Title II of the Telecommunications Act. The section, which is more than 100 pages long, regulates how common carriers must conduct business across all forms of communication in order to act, quote, in the public interest, unquote. Net neutrality supporters say that the language is vague and could be used to sidestep a free and open internet and give ISPs the opportunity to sign deals with internet companies that would provide for prioritization of traffic. Obama, however, said the FCC should limit some of the regulation relating to rates and, quote, other provisions less relevant to broadband, unquote, creating potential wiggle room for other debate on the limitations. Still, the reference to Title II marks a clear stake in the ground for the White House. Quote, this is a basic acknowledgement, unquote, Obama said, quote, of the services ISPs provide in American homes and businesses and the straightforward obligation necessary to ensure the network works for everyone, not just one or two companies, unquote. So, there you go. So, what does that mean, folks? What does that mean, really? What does that mean? Well, see, it's all up in the air right now because he's proposing this and he's saying we have to do this. But he's also, think opposites, folks. Let me go to a break and I'll come back. Think opposites. What they say and what they do. What they say to you and what they do behind closed doors. I'll be back right after this.
Hey there, I'm Big Tiny. I'm the host of Big Tiny's Oldies and More. And we're playing music that you just love to hear from the 50s to the 90s. So check us out Monday through Friday and see what we're playing right here on Spreaker.com.
Listen to Angel Clark Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Radio Freedom News Network. RadioFreedom.us.
Hey, folks, welcome back. This is the TVE Show Podcast, number 2 for today, if you want to put it that way. A little show note. I know I said I was going to be live today on the Views Expressed, but no, not going to be able to. I was hoping to set aside some time to do that, and with stuff going on, I got to take care of what I got to take care of. But stay tuned. I may be live tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific. You never know. You never know. I'll let you guys know what's going on the Facebook page at Free America Radio on Facebook. I didn't get a chance to, this is a last minute thing really, but I realized I wasn't going to be able to do a show today. But, so as of right now, I can go over there and put down that it's not gonna happen today. So you're gonna this is happening live, right? Well, not live. This is happening right before your ears, folks. God, I wish Facebook wouldn't do that. God. Anyway, I want y'all to also know that, again, let me reiterate, I'm nonpartisan. I don't believe in parties. I believe that we should have, your mom and pop store owners, whatever, get into all that, get into politics if they want, and as far as I'm concerned, I think those are the people that need to be, on the city councils, on the county board of supervisors. If they want to go, and become mayor or whatever, that's up to them. But I think that we need mom and pops on the city council. We don't need professional. And when I say professional, I'm using that in terms of they're getting paid for it. No, let me just blatantly put this out here. We don't need attorneys running for any of the offices, okay? We don't. We don't need any of those. We need the mom and pops, the school teachers, those folks. We need those people on the city council, not attorneys. We need to kick them out of the political process, okay? That's as blunt as I can put it. And I see that in some areas, okay? And if I can multitask here, I see that in some areas. I see that teachers and bakers and truck drivers and stuff like that are getting on the city council because they're tired of the same old every year. Okay, they're tired of the same people every year. Okay, or the same type of people every year. And I see that there are people who understand the streets. The attorneys, whoever they may be, they don't know because they went from a big university to learn law into an office or became partners with somebody else, and they just bypass the streets altogether. They have no clue. They're only using the law against the people to generate revenue. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. They're the general manager to the store owner, okay, using that analogy. The store owner is there, and the lawyer is the general manager who takes the money and supplies the goods and and that's all it is. That's all it is. The complaint department is the judge on the bench. That's all it is, folks. And what really pisses me off is that people can't understand it in those terms. Okay? I can give you, store owner analogies, sports analogies, whatever, to try to help you understand what's going on, and you're going to sit there going, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that because I don't want it ruining my day. No. Okay? Let me tell you something, folks. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Just because you close your eyes to the bad things doesn't mean they're going to go away. You have to see what is going on. You have to understand this stuff. It is there in front of your face, and if you can't see it, there's a problem. You know, I just don't understand it. But anyway, let's get on to something else because I'm going to rant on that for a long time if I don't get off of it. I'm going to give a big shout out to the one and only Angel Clark. Let's put it this way. She is in a much better place at this point, living-wise, okay? Now, I want to say this. If you are of the mindset that you have to leave the country to feel safe and to survive, then by all means, you know, have a safe trip. I'm just saying, okay? So I'm a big shout out to Famous Dave and Angel Clark and over at radiofreedom.us. Go check out her site, radiofreedom.us, and tell her Wayne S. Pierce had sent you from Free America Radio Network. So anyway, I'm over at the go-to site, Drudge Report. Hospital robot delivers specimens, surgical equipment. Artificial intelligent travel agent will book vacations in near future. Scientists predict robot brains to match humans in 25 years. I just wanted to bring that up. It is one of those things where when you look around, let me go here for a minute, okay? Let me go here. Okay? I really feel that it's necessary for people to understand exactly what's going on. And I really feel that it's necessary for people to be educated in the ways of common sense. But as I look around, and I'm out in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, and we're walking around or driving around, I'm seeing these people that, number one, absolutely don't know how to drive. They don't see and hear and feel, and, you know, they're not present. They're not in the moment. Hey, I'm guilty of it sometimes myself, but at least I'm aware of my surroundings. You know, I've taken the bus around town as well, and I've walked around downtown, and I've seen people, and I've talked to people. You know, let me tell you something. They feel something. There's something that they understand is there, but they don't quite know what it is, and they're afraid. They're truly afraid of what might happen. So they're doing everything they can to survive. And like I said before, if you feel it's best for you to leave the country, have a safe trip. From WOAI.com. Illegal immigrants to Border Patrol. We're coming for the amnesty. All of President Obama's talk about granting some illegal immigrants amnesty worries the nation's Border Patrol agents. News Radio 1200 WOAI's Michael Board reports. Indications are that as many as 6 million people could have their status in the United States normalized, meaning they could be allowed to remain in the country, work legally, and perhaps have a path to citizenship, thanks to President Obama's expected executive order. But Sean Moran, who is with the National Border Patrol Council, tells News Radio 1200 WOAI that just the talk of granting legal status to illegals will have an impact on cross-border traffic. Quote, we definitely see increases in illegal aliens coming across the border when there is a national talk of an amnesty, unquote, Moran said. Moran says immigrant smuggling cartels in Mexico and Latin America pounce on that talk to try to shake down the desperate people who are facing poverty and horrible crime in their native countries. Quote, under President Bush, there was talk of immigration reform, and they would say, we're coming here for the amnesty, unquote, Moran said. He says any talk of changing U.S. immigration laws results in a flood of desperate people trying to take advantage of what they were told is a permiso, which will allow them to get away from the hell that is there in their native country and into a prosperity and the generous welfare state that is the United States. He points to the rush of unaccompanied minors. He points to the rush of unaccompanied minors from Central America this past summer. Quote, that was largely fueled by the idea that we are not enforcing our immigration laws and that if you got to this country, you could stay here, unquote, he said. Several Central American immigrants said they were conned by criminal gangs to borrow thousands of dollars to send their children to the U.S. because they were told that the U.S. would allow unaccompanied minors to remain in the country under a law designed to cut back on sex trafficking. It was only when word got back to Central America that there was no permiso and the immigrant children were being detained that the flood stopped. Okay. I'm at the point, where I'm totally and absolutely done with this current regime. Obama executive action begins with increase in Chinese visas. Homeland Security to notify cops of freed criminal aliens. Agents report increase in gang member crossing. Do you understand what's happening here, folks? Do you absolutely understand what is happening? Okay? I never thought in my lifetime that I would ever be faced with the situation that is currently in our country now. I never thought that I would face the day when I would have to defend this country from within. I never thought that would ever happen. I never thought that it would come a day that certain information that I had received many, many years ago would have to be put into play at this point, or would play itself out at this point. I never thought that would happen. I never thought that I would be standing with the Constitution on one side and the American flag on the other. I never, ever, ever thought that I would that day would ever come. And trust me, I've been studying shadow governments and world politics for many, many years, on and off, but recently in the last 20, I've just been headlong into finding out why this country is going in the toilet so quickly. I found out why. And it's two reasons. One, Washington, D.C. is bought and paid for as of the Organic Act of 1871. Go look that one up. And two, because of the apathy of the American people. Why? Because we're being brainwashed and dumbed down by our state-run media and our governmental indoctrination institutes. That's why. You know, it's just... It's crazy, folks. It's nuts. Why should we, the American people born and raised here, have to cater or compromise with somebody else? that comes to this country illegally. Why should we? Why should we grant anyone citizenship who came here illegally? Now, of course, you're probably going to use the old tired scenario that, well, you know, the Western Europeans came over here and they killed millions of Indians just to get their way and to steal the land. Folks, let me tell you something. Prior to 1776, there was no rule of law except for what the king had, because we were ruled by Europe. Okay? And then in 1775, 1776, some people got this idea that, wait a minute, our breakfast beverage is going to be taxed. That was tea, folks. And sure enough, it was. And those people, those 3%ers, stood up and told King George, bite me. Okay? And we beat the biggest army in the world of that time. Those 3%ers beat the biggest army of that time to gain independence. But it didn't come cheap, and it didn't come without a loss. But let me tell you something. This is 2014. And people have been here on this continent, on this piece of land, for well over 700 years. So you tell me, the United States has only been a country for 238 of those years. What did we do before that? What did we do before that? I'm going to say it again. I don't advocate violence. I don't advocate any violence. I do support defense. And if you have your brains screwed into your cranium properly, you will understand that it's your responsibility and obligation to overthrow this nation, to get rid of it, and to install some other people who actually know what the hell they're doing and want peace, freedom, and security and liberty for this nation, that stand on the Constitution prior to 1871. But see, there's apathetic people in the United States. Apathetic. Let me give you the dictionary.com definition of that. Okay? I'm just going to give you the root word, which is apathy. Okay? Let me tell you what that means. A lack of interest in or concern for things that others find moving or exciting. Absence or suppression of passion, emotion, or excitement. Okay? Absence of interest in or enthusiasm for things generally considered interesting or moving. Shall I go on? Apathetic. That's what people are. I can only say this. If people are so apathetic to the causes of peace, freedom, security, and liberty in this nation, and if they have no backbone to defend that, then you've only got one choice and one choice only. I did a rant earlier that you might want to take a listen to. I was harsh. I was right up in your face. I tell it like it is. I don't give you BS. Hey, if I've overlooked something, I overlooked something. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm wrong. It just means that, I missed something. Let's go back and take a look at it. But I'm going to say this to those people who want to get rid of the Second Amendment, want to have fascism and communism in this country, want to back Obama in every policy that he has, let me tell you something, and I'm going to get right up in your face and tell you this. Imagine me right up in your face telling you this. You can go to hell. You can pack your crap and get the hell out of this country. I'm sure Mexico or North Korea or China or Russia would love your citizenship. As a matter of fact, since you're against America, why don't you just move to Iran? I had somebody, when I was talking to him on the phone, I had somebody tell me, I understand where you're coming from, but I disagree with you. And I went, why? You know what this person told me? Well, because we have a constitution and it's freedom of speech. I don't always have to agree with you. Well, I'm not asking you to agree with me. I'm telling you, you don't like this country, jack it, pack it, and leave, buddy. Don't let the border hit you on the ass on the way out. That's just the way it is. Because there is absolutely, if you crunch the numbers, folks, if you actually have the mind for math and can figure things out, crunch the numbers, there is absolutely positively no way that we're ever going to be able to pay back or to pay the bill for $20 trillion. No way. By the time President Obama leaves office in 2016, we are probably going to have a $22 trillion debt. That's if he leaves office. Okay? I don't know what to tell you from this point on. From now on, I'm just going to talk to the people that are fully aware and awake of what's going on and try to encourage them to get something going. And let's move together as a group and purposely go out and defend this country in any way possible. Go to overpassesforamerica.com. Go talk to James Neighbors. He's also on Mondays. You can catch him on livetruthradio.com with Brian Lang. What can we do? If you're looking for solutions, I ain't the person you need to be looking to. I'm not going to give you the answers on a silver platter. Okay? I'm learning every single day what I can do. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. You're going to have to find that on your own. But if it means that you go to overpasses and get 10, 12 other people to do that and to get permission to do that, because, you know, it's your First Amendment right, but still you're going to have cops coming up going, hey, what are you doing? Well, we're expressing our First Amendment right, thank you. Do you have a permit to do this? I don't need a permit. But I'll tell you what. Don't get, as my grandmother used to say, don't get sassy with me, boy. Actually, she didn't say that. I know another grandmother, one of my other relatives that used to say that. Don't get sassy with me, boy. But that's what you want to do. You want to go out and express yourself. And make it very prominent, very noticeable. But don't be angry and don't, get all offensive. And just go out and hold a sign up, whatever it is. Or go out and take 20 of your family members or friends and go to the governor's mansion or go to the state capitol or to the city hall and start protesting outdoors, out around the building, and go from there. Protest. Trust me, people see it, and it gets on the news, and people start talking about it. Okay? Hey, I'm going to get out of here, folks. Again, the views expressed live is not going to be on today due to some stuff that I got behind on, so I got to catch up. It's playing catch-up day today. Go to Free America Radio on Facebook. I'll tell you whether or not I'm going to be live tomorrow. So, like I said, folks, I'm scaling back the network, but I'm still going to give you the truth one fact at a time, and I'm not going to give you any BS either. So, hey, remember this, folks. You are responsible. You are obligated, and it is your duty to defend this nation. Email me, freeamericaradio@usa.com. 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 Go to thewaynesPierceShow.weebly.com, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.